There are certain small mistakes you could make with your on-page SEO that can have really detrimental effects on your site's performance in the search engines. You can lose rankings and traffic and revenue, sometimes without even knowing why until you do an audit. I'm Andrew Hansen from digitalworth.com, and in this video we're going to cover 7 of the worst of those mistakes and how to avoid them with simple fixes. The good news is all of these are quick and pretty simple. First up, if you like this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you hear immediately when we release new videos on how to get more traffic to your niche sites. Okay, so number 1, the first on-page SEO mistake that can really tank a niche site at the moment is not having the author of your content be visible. The author of your content should be displayed on every piece of content, and if your niche requires it, they should have some kind of credibility that can be explained. Let me give you a little example. In the last 6 months, I'd been following the progress of this little niche site I'd found because they seemed to be having really great success very quickly. They'd grown from 0 to something like 60,000 visitors a month in a really short space of time. And when I checked back on this site in Ahrefs recently, I saw this scary graph. When I mentioned this site and that traffic graph to our email list originally, I said, these guys are doing great, but one thing they'll need to improve if they want to keep growing is that they have no author listed for any of their content. And when I look at their site and that graph now, I think there's a strong chance that this is at least part of what's caused the dip. In case you haven't heard, Google cares a lot these days about EAT, or expertise, authority, and trust. It wants to rank and show content from publishers that are credible, and it cares more about this the more your content has the capacity to affect people. For example, EAT is most important in markets like health and finance, where bad information could be really damaging to someone. But it's not as important in markets like sewing, because sewing. There is a lot to know about expertise, authority, and trust, but at the fundamental level, it's about making clear to your readers who exactly wrote your content. In most cases, a little author panel in the sidebar or the footer of every page showing the author's name, maybe a picture, and maybe a little blurb is a good start. If it can link to an author page where there is more information about the author, maybe even some social media profiles to show that they're a real person, even better. But having no author listed anywhere on a piece of content is a very risky move in the current search engine environment. Okay, number 2. This one's an oldie but a goodie. It's trying to get some target keyword too many times into your article, particularly in the page title and the first couple of paragraphs. Search engines are getting constantly better at understanding human language, and it can be very easy for the algorithm to scan your content and notice that you've used certain words unnaturally. And if it does, it can be just as easy for them to knock you down to a lower position. There are tools you can use now to compare your keyword density for important phrases to the density in other articles that are already ranking for these phrases, but way before you try anything advanced like that, you can usually avoid this problem by just writing naturally. If you read some of your content out loud and it sounds weird, it's probably a sign that you tried too hard to optimize for Google and not hard enough to optimize for your readers. Okay, number 3, next thing that can signal to Google that your content's not very high quality is having no outgoing links in your articles. SEO people used to obsess over this, saying things like, why would I link out to another website and risk sending my valuable traffic elsewhere? But at some point, we all realize that helpful external links are really important to creating valuable content for readers. External links give your readers the ability to explore topics in more detail. They increase your credibility by acting as a source for the important points you've made in your article. And when you link to other articles or websites that are authoritative and relevant, you show Google that you're a good judge of what quality looks like in the niche. Open up any big content website you know of, say a big news site or a popular blog, and look at one of their articles. It will be rare you'll find an article with no outgoing links. Number 4. This is another easy one that you only have to set once, but that new site owners can overlook, and it's to have keyword-targeted permalinks. If you don't know, your permalink is the format of the URL of your content pages. It's the part after your domain name, like this. If you're using WordPress and you don't set this properly, you could end up with a URL that looks like this. That's confusing to readers, and it makes it harder for Google to understand what your site is about, or how it relates to other pages on your site, and which keywords this page should rank for. There are 2 easy things you need to do to get your permalinks right when you're using WordPress. The first is to set your permalink structure in WP Admin under Settings, Permalinks. You want to choose the option that says Post Name. Then, when you're writing your posts on the actual Add Post page, You want to make sure the slug for your post title is something as short as possible that represents the main topic, which may or may not be the main target keyword of your article. Number 5, this is a really common one. It's having really similar snippets of text in the post title of a lot of different posts. When affiliate marketers write a lot of product reviews or best of articles, they often include some text like 2020 review and comparison at the end of their post titles. But they use the same text or something very similar at the end of lots of different article titles. You probably know that Google doesn't like duplicate content, and one form of that is content that seems to be duplicated on the same website. Well, a page with a string that's duplicated right there in the title has a strong chance of looking to Google like it's a duplicated page. A page title, as it shows up in Google, is only around 60 characters long. And if you have a 20 or 30 character string that's identical on 10 different pages, that's a third or a half of your whole page title that's not unique. This makes it much more difficult for Google to tell what your page is about and what it should rank for. Not only that, you reduce your click-through rates from the search engines by not having something more keyword specific to entice searchers with. Keep your page titles unique and interesting, and you'll avoid this nasty little on-page SEO mistake. Number 6, the next on-page mistake that can cause big problems for your site is having the same version of a piece of content appear on 2 different URLs. A really common way this can happen is when new website owners publish an article without using the Read More button in WordPress, so that the full article shows both on the homepage of the site and its own article page. The same thing can also happen on your category pages or your archive pages. When your site is new and there's not much content, it can be tempting to want to fill your homepage up by having these full articles appear there rather than just snippets. But if you do that, all Google sees is 2 URLs with the exact same content. You won't get a penalty for this, but it can certainly affect how Google judges the quality, both of your homepage and your individual article pages. Check your homepage, category page, tag pages, and archives to make sure they're only showing titles or small snippets of your articles, and you'll know you're out of the woods on this one. Okay, number 7, the final SEO mistake, at least for this video, that can have a negative effect on your rankings, is hiding your legal pages. A lot of new site owners use templates for their legal pages, like the privacy policy, the terms of service, and their disclaimers. There are even WordPress plugins for this now, and people used to say that it was good to add a no index to these pages because they were copied content. And it's exactly the same on tens of thousands of other websites, so Google might look at that and give you a duplicate content penalty. Today, I think the best practice is totally different. In a world where expertise, authority, and trust is so important, think about how it looks in Google's eyes when you've hidden your privacy policy or your terms of service page from their searches. I think Google knows these pages are likely to be duplicated, the algorithm probably knows exactly how to handle them, and that no one's getting a duplicate content penalty for having those be in Google's index visible to searchers. You can make those pages indexable easily using the settings in your SEO plugin, whichever it is inside your WordPress admin. Okay, so that's it. Those are not all of them, but they're a good starting 7 of the worst on-page SEO mistakes that can really have a negative effect on your search engine rankings. The big question for you now, and I'd love you to tell me in the comments below, is which of these mistakes were you making? And probably most importantly, which are you going to fix first? I'd love to hear. Don't forget to subscribe with the big red button to get notified when we release more videos on SEO, on niche marketing, and on increasing your income with legitimate online businesses. Talk soon.